So hopefully I'm gonna let some people get on here. Hope you can hear me. Okay, I'm trying to wait for a couple of people to get on where I can tell if you can hear me, hear what I'm saying, or not. But what we're gonna get into today is some upcoming events, big events at that. And as of yesterday, I retained and I've got a federal. They are good at legal, uh, legal wise. They're good at mediations, lawsuits, that kind of ordeal. And let's just put it this way: we're going to be in the process of doing that. We've got the major issue we're having is the FBI agent that was over me as the informant. And I'm trying to decide if I want to keep my hair down or put it back up. Or just got out of the shower earlier, so I'm trying to get used to my hair. It's a mess. But what I'm getting at is, with getting this federal attorney behind me, we got some lawsuits coming out. And like I was getting at, the agent that was over me, Michael Curtis, he's now retired, with the Joint Terrorism Task Force with the FBI in Indianapolis. Reason we're going after them and the FBI is the whole fact that I was an active FBI informant, not only during Karena's, which made me a federal witness, but also during Delphi. That being said, I had to get a protective order. No help whatsoever from the agent or the FBI on an active non-drug felon that was a suspect and driver, not only in Karena's, but also into Delphi. Now, I'm not going to get into too deep subject, but I do have a federal attorney behind me, and you're going to see some big news coming up because we've got a media liaison we're going to be working with on their end at their office, and what they're going to be doing is national and state, local, this area, news station wise, they're going to be letting them know, no sir, we file this within the federal Supreme Court. Now we're going to get into Gabe and his group, aka the Kokomo crew. They are actually supervised and actually protected by what I call the Kokomo Ghetto Boy Club. And that Kokomo Ghetto Boy Club, the biggest issues we got in there is members like Fouts, local prosecuting attorneys, commissioners, among other issues, are very present in that issue and in that little Kokomo Ghetto Boy Club. Like I said, Fouts belongs to this club, and it's not just him, it's others as well. And I'm trying to get this going down. I want it to kind of go long. Sorry, so if it looks a little weird, I just shaved everything else off. I hate saying it, but the Amish look right now, until I get this growing out a little bit more. And you'll be seeing some weird stuff with those going on. But what I'm getting at is Gabe Ellis. I've been speaking up on him from the very beginning, and I've had people like Matt Sullivan and others using my intel saying it is the how Gabe Ellis puts himself involved is there is a one Shannon Jackson Young, Marlena Smith, and Karena's grandmother on the mom's side called Shannon Jackson Young, and who she is a member of is the in Kokomo, the Milwaukee Iron Motorcycle Club. She is actually a patch member, and she's not the only one. That this club, they need to be shut down when it comes to these ride for the missing people. How many families, victims' families, how many children has Richie Klein and Milwaukee Iron allowed sexual predators like Tony Klein and Keegan Klein around their club during children's events. Events featuring victims' families like Delphi, Karena's, others. And what's sick about Milwaukee Iron is the whole fact that this club is refusing justice for one of their own members' daughters, a former president of Milwaukee Iron. And D, I see you're on here. Can you actually hear me okay? Yes, no, maybe. Can you type in there if you're still in here? Just make sure my headphones didn't die on me. But hopefully I'm not just sitting here going blah, 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 and you can't hear me. That would suck. Okay, now that I know you can hear me, we're going to go back to Gabe Ellis, and then we're going to go back to, like, Milwaukee Iron, Shannon Jackson up. The night Karena got dropped off at Flint Farmers, the exact outfit she was wearing, I said to a T, down to the loud descriptions. I call it loud descriptions because down to how her sandals looked, I told KPD that all this, and I did not know about any of this till after about 4.5 years. The address, you see where I'm going live from. I'm not there, but I want you to know it. In that backyard, there was a fire pit right there in Cutler that was used by Gabe Ellis and others to burn Karena's dismembered remains. And the reason I bring this up, I got it exactly from her mom. And Karena's mom, she's keeping her case from getting justice. I'm telling you that. She's protecting, and her daughter is protecting her ex and the drug members that are involved in Karena's case. The sexual trafficking, the whole 9 yards, the individuals involved. There was one firefighter she did give me the name of, but then there was a firefighter afterwards. I couldn't find anything on the name she gave me. The firefighter afterwards, there's a individual that came forward after this certain individual, and his history with a KPD ex of his getting charged with a felony, breaking and entering in a ex of his house, who just happened to be a Kokomo police department officer. I won't give out names, but I'm just saying it's kind of suspicious. And then you think of everything that went on in Delphi. You got this individual that paid Gabe Ellis more than once to beat and rape Karena while he was trafficking her. End up killing Karena with his own two hands. And I'm going to tell you this much now. Every one of you involved, both Karena and Delphi, I hope you burn in hell. And it's not just Karena and Delphi. There's an extensive missing code case, and it's affecting members within a certain troubled community. That is the sex and the drug community. Sex workers, strippers, druggies, dealers, the whole 9 yards. That troubled community has had the longest running corruption within it for years. In years, we can keep going on years. When it comes to law enforcement and corruption within that troubled community. This troubled community is actually, as we speak, being ravaged. There's over 40 missing and killed cases for a fact that tie back to Karena and Delphi. And I've got even IMPD admitting to this in written. And IMPD saying there is ties and connections to not only Karena and Delphi, the names, the drug rings, everything involved, but it goes back to even further. Jamie Beasley, Tony Klein, K-L-I-N-E. Not Klein, like Keegan Klein, but C-L-I-N-E. It's a friend of Jamie Beasley's that went missing and killed not too long after hers. And then before hers, her cousin, Mariah Coy, was murdered. A lot of these individuals around Gabe this Kokomo crew, and others are shown around Jamie Beasley, Tony Klein, Logan Support. You've got Gabe actually friends with the two survivors, best buddies, mind you. The two got out alive in Logan Support. We're best buddies of Gabriel Ellis. He's around there. Don't let him lie. He knows what happened, and I guarantee it was drug money and debt. And the one person, I didn't see it on the mom that died in the fire, but the one person I did see it on is the dad that died and was going to get notified by the law not too long after the deaths. Give me a second. I'm trying to turn this down a little bit. I look like a Casper and a ghost with this darn thing up so high. I didn't want to turn it off. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, that's better. Had to look a little pale and a little yellow than looking like a ghost. But what we're getting ready to get at is when I get back to Daniel Height, the dad that was actually found dead, when they went to go notify him, Daniel Height, of his 3 kids and the mother of his 3 kids. Father, you get the idea. 6 people dead. And something that does not click in the back of my head is when it comes to law enforcement saying the mom and 3 kids were so close into the kitchen, to the kitchen door to get out. Makes you wonder if one of those survivors, friends of Gabe Ellis, knew about a debt, getting some money or something like that. I'm not saying that's what happened, and holding the door shut. Or was it Gabe and his little buddies that actually showed up and actually held the door shut? It makes you wonder. Because this mom and these kids were so close of getting out, but yet it was almost like somebody's on the other end. Keep that door closed. They weren't able to get out of the kitchen. And now what's weird is, I remember at the very beginning of this, on Logan Support Fires, that they said the fire started in the kitchen. If that's the case, then how's a mother and 3 kids falling in tow going right into the kitchen where it's supposed to have been starting the worst? Don't add up. Daniel Height, they're saying it was suicide. They're not saying it's suicide. Not really explaining what's going on. And the Gabe Ellis and his crew showing up are not only around Daniel, but then you have the 2 survivors that got out of Logansport. Don't sit with me. And then my hair's driving me nuts. I gotta put this up. It's getting warm in here, and as you see, it's pretty long. It drives me crazy at times. So bear with me. I gotta put my hair up. I got a fan blowing on me. I got the AC coming from another direction, and it's going all over the place. So put it up in the man bun, messy man bun. But Daniel Height, it just does not sit well with what I'm seeing with Gabe, the drug crew, the Kokomo crew. And we're going to get into Flora here in a second. In Flora, one major issue I have is if you look deep, the mom over the Flora girls had a very bad habit. A certain drug habit. There's a reason she skipped town, skipped state, and doesn't have anything to really do with the case that her debt, her drugs, cost. Then you have Christy Lynn Martin, a certain father. If he was to roll in Delphi on Gabe Ellis, Christy Lynn Martin, I'm hearing, is the one that took the charges, dealing in place of Gabe. Guess where she's from? Florida, Indiana. Guess who she dealt to? The mom. And others. What's really concerning is a Anthony Thomas on her friends list, a Florida, Indiana firefighter. That really don't sit well with me. What is a Florida firefighter that was involved in that issue? And yes, she did get 17 years federal time, but it was actually in place of Gabe. And what's concerning is, why is a meth dealer, pretty good sized meth dealer, friends with a Florida firefighter? It's weird. We're going to go back to Gabe, back to Kokomo. The night I stopped to help her on my way home, I was actually leaving my ex's, heading to my apartment over on Woodland Avenue. I was more able than what I am now. It's like, if you can't see, I got my wheelchair seat kind of behind me. I got so used to having it behind me, so gotta have it behind me now. But not in a chair. I actually had braces on my legs. And Frank, that's exactly what I'm hearing. And instead of Gabe getting hit, it was Christy Lynn Martin that stepped up and took the charges. I got that from her own sister, but everybody keeps saying Tina Riddell, Tina Bogart. I'm calling Tina out. You're a liar. You're stinks. And you need to come clean with everything, including what I've got on you right now, where I asked you, when you said you tampered with blood, her excuse was she put a drop of peroxide on blood just to see if it was human. If you know anything about blood and peroxide, human or not, it's going to show up and it's going to bubble up no matter what kind of blood it is. It's just the natural reaction of peroxide meeting blood. Human or not, it's going to have the same reaction. And when I asked her, whose blood did you put that on? The Delphi girls. They showed up. At first, she gave me a different apartment. Then she kind of ratted on herself. 105, East Harrison. It's the same apartment. Gabe Ellis, the underage girl, Paige Turley, the driver of that Jeep, and her wife, the passenger in that Jeep, all left. That same apartment was used during Karena's trafficking, her death, her dismemberment, them loading her into a vehicle, taking her out to Cutler, burning her at this address that I've got listed. Yes, I put the address on there. I want each and every one of you to remember that. There's going to be some major things coming into play. And Gabe, Tyler, Jeff French, and a few others, I did make contact. At first, this same group was running around trying to say there were Sons of Anarchy. Then they were going around saying, we're Sons of Odin. Got a hold of the real national chapters of both. And when you break the one golden rule, you don't F with kids. You don't kill kids. You don't do anything against kids. 1%er groups, everybody has the same street code. Same biker code. It's the golden rule. You don't mess with children. Let alone be the reason children lost their lives. And when you're trying to rep something you aren't, real ones find out, they're not the least bit happy. Some of these want to claim that they're Sons of Odin. Some of these thinking they were Sons of Anarchy, running around. I got proof of both, still to this day. Calling each other blood brothers after illegal acts. It wasn't approved by the National. So you're claiming to be Sons of Odin? You're sick. And the real groups aren't too happy with you. I'll say this much without saying as a threat or anything like that. You better hope law enforcement gets to you before some of these real Sons of Odin MC, some of these real one percenters MC clubs, they're not too happy with a few of the MC clubs there in Kokomo. Their actions, their inactions, what they've been allowing, down to children. They're not the least bit happy with this being allowed and them still being able to run as an MC with the blessing of a one percenter club. It's sick. And even they're saying, nah, this is not what being a part of a club, this is not what being part of us is about. You don't mess with children. It's the number one street code, prison code, biker code. Anybody knows it. You don't mess with children. And I've been having issues, so I was going to go with Streamlab, and then Streamlabs, whatever, would let me do my back camera, the one I'm using right now. And I'm trying to get it set up on the computer. It's being a pain. So bear with me. Next live, I should be live on that. Green screen economy should be up, working, the whole 9 yards. Should be looking good. I just figured I'd come on and speak a little bit out, add on to what Sleuth was saying yesterday on Sleuth Intuition YouTube. Shout out to him, Sonny, and a few others that are finally looking at Gabe, Ellis, Tyler Joe French, and a few others. Curly JK, Marvin Frank. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to make it a little bit easier and just do screen record, do a long video, speak on what I'm showing, get it done faster? And there's over 200 names. Sarah May, Saramae, Zoe, Trueblood, Zoey, Trueblood, True, Blood. You're going to have Heather Ferris. Heather Ferris, you're going to see the 100 South and Prince William Road, the same co-op that Derek and Dustin stole the ammonia from. I guarantee the same place they parked, you're going to see Gabe Ellis manufacturing meth with Heather Ferris. Right there. Everybody's asking, does he have history? Right there in Delphi, when it comes to Delphi. Gabe does. Right there at Prince Williams Road and 100 South, right there. And then everybody keeps asking, what is Gabe Ellis and Tyler Joe French connection when it comes to Delphi and the other cases? It's the drugs and the debt. The reason Karena's happened. You're going to see, if you look up, Keenan McClurkin, her brother on her dad's side, dealing in methamphetamine. Meth and money loss. It was debt. The family on both sides tried blaming Karena. She stole $20,000 worth of meth and money and went back to the same location, Flint Farmers, that she was running from. I've asked around some OGs. People are still say they're gangsters and they're in and everything. I asked, I was like, see, if you stole $20,000 worth of money and drugs off a certain individual in a certain location, street smarts, anybody's smarts, would you go back to that said location? Excuse my language. Hell no. Don't add up. But then if you start looking at the drug connections in Gabe Ellis, and you start adding up the cases, you're going to have 4 at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got the 6 individuals. The 2 individuals that got out alive, best friends with Gabe, and you got those 6 individuals in the fire. That's 10. You got the father. So his direct ties back to Gabe and the Kokomo crew. 11. You've got 2 individuals, kids, that were killed when Javon Blackwell out of Marion, who dealt for the Kokomo crew, Gabe's crew, everything like that. He got murdered when he got robbed for his money and his drugs that were in his house. That's the reason those 2 kids of his got killed. He was a dealer. Back to that Kokomo crew. You're going to have Delphi 2 girls. Keep up with me counting wise. You're going to have Karena. 96 days after Delphi, the individual, Alan Tinker, that had involvement with Jeremy Peterson's death. The reason Jeremy died was he was going to be coming behind me on information to the local PD, not only on Gabe or Ellis, his involvement, the ones that were around him involved, including Alan Tinker, the guy that killed him. The reason Alan killed him was to keep him from talking and letting it be known. Right there, Alan had involvement and was involved. That's the reason how he knows the details. Back to Marlena Smith, Karena's mother and grandmother, calling up Shannon Jackson Young. Shannon is passed in as a member of Milwaukee Iron, just like Richie Klein. Tony Klein and Keegan's cousin. It's Tony Klein's first cousin, I believe. Second cousin on Keegan's side is Tony Klein. How many events did Milwaukee Iron allow pedophiles, sexual predators like Tony and Keegan around Christmas events, Halloween events? How many children's events? These rides? And you as a collective need to speak up when it comes to the Milwaukee Iron doing these rides in remembrance of these missing cold cases. It needs to stop. They are the reason many of these cases are not getting justice. It's the drugs, the ties, the good old boy club that they belong to. They don't want justice. It's a PR, and they're getting a certain amount of money going back to these clubs to put these events on, and look at us, we're doing something good. They're not doing it. It's to cover themselves, their actions, the ones that are around them, and you'll see pictures in Gabe's profile. Some of those members, if you look and do your history, are Milwaukee Iron members. Sin City is one of the worst ones when it comes to drugs and sex trafficking. There was a member, don't ask me how I know this, was always over at his sister's. He spent $15,000, the drug money they gave him, and drove down on his bike in Indy, traded that $20,000 in for hard drugs, filled his saddlebags up, and came back to get his patches back with Sin City. The cartel-fed drug ring, 2018, proven cartel. I've got some of the Kingpin members. Their names, their roles, what role they have. There's an individual. She works at a salon academy there in Kokomo. She is known, and it's one of her roles. She goes down to Mexico. Doesn't say if she takes individuals down to Mexico to get across the border, but she goes down to Mexico, gets these individuals coming across the border, and traffics them back up to here and puts them in different locations. Then you got individuals like Kokomo, business owner. Kokomo, Indian cuisine, you're going to have an Indian individual. It's going to be Mr. Singh, Lucky Singh. And I've got the spelling, everything on the page, and if you ask me, I can tell you exactly Sons of Violence. It does not surprise me, another MC club. And if they knew what these people were doing, they wouldn't allow it. You don't mess with kids. And these 1% biker groups, it's one thing they are proud of. You don't mess with kids. You're going to see 1%ers actually show up to kids getting abused, mentally, physically, sexually, at home, at school, being bullied. Some of these same individuals show up to protect these kids. To show, hey, you don't mess with these kids, they're with us. That's how tight some of these kids are to some of these 1% biker groups. The real ones. You don't mess with kids. It is a bad omen and a bad no-no. Well, I'm going to get into a lot of names and everything in the next video. Like I said, I might make it a little bit faster. I'll keep the big video I'm working on right now. And I'm actually going to drop screenshots. I'm going to go showing you everything back to Kokomo Crew, the ones I call stalkers on my page. But before I get off here, just yesterday evening, I get the money for the retainer. I retained a federal attorney, well, lawyer. You have to go into the Supreme Court and the federal court. The reason we did that, there's going to be multiple agencies. We're going to bring up the fact that Carroll County prosecutor Steve Mullen, then you have Carroll County former detective Hammonds, both admit that there is a third missing and killed case. The first victim, the one I helped, the one I became a witness to. Where they're getting themselves in hot water is they're not allowing the public to know that there is a continued threat that's taken 3 different lives in the same county disposed of, 2 different train bridges. They know about this, but yet they're not letting the public know about this. There's a third victim, a first victim. 126 days before the girl. We've got a body in our county that we know of. Know where she was burned. Know where her dismembered remains were disposed of. But we're not going to lift a finger to do anything about it. I got a full email. This is another thing I'll be showing the federal attorney, where I actually asked Lesenby if he would allow cadaver dogs in, and us, personally, the civilians, do his job for him. We look, we find the remains, and then them come in, oh, look what we did. We're willing to do the hard work. But these lawsuits, they're going to be big. And I mean big. It's going to get a lot of things done, and it's been needing to happen. If anybody has any way of getting a hold of Carrie Timmons, please let her know to get a hold of me. 2 of these lawsuits, she can come right in beside me. I've got victim, witness, and informant tampering that went on. I can guarantee I get charges, and in these charges of the tampering, at least, it's 30 years per charge when deaths are involved. There is one House bill. You all can speak up. The more the better. House Bill 1159 that got turned into law. Indiana drug dealers. Their drugs tied to overdoses. Boone County, Indiana proved it cannot just be overdoses. They used this when one of their own deputies were killed. Part of this drug ring. The same drug ring that Gabe, Kokomo, the rest of them were involved with. It's killed 3 badges. Howard County. You've got Boone County deputy. And you got an officer in Terre Haute. The same drug ring are behind all 3. The same drug ring was already hit when they turned that House Bill 1159 around. And this is how we need to speak up to the guy that wrote that law. We need to speak up as a whole. There's multiple missing and killed cases tied to that drug ring, that troubled community being ravaged and hit. That House Bill 1159 needs to read exactly how Boone County reworded it and used it to get multiple dealers for murder. That's another thing I'm going to be trying with that federal attorney. And when all this comes out, comes to a head, I want that House bill. I want them to push after they admit they did wrong, they screwed up. I'm going to call Card out when it comes to his state trooper, Tony Slocum, over Delphi. Well over almost 24, and I said 24 individuals that are on his friends list, sit in my informant list as proven domestic terrorism suspects. There's a former sheriff, both on the sheriff of Boone County Michael Nelson, as well as Tony Slocum's friends list, is the former sheriff out of Michigan. He had a direct role in every Bundy standoff and every armed standoff big issue when it comes to the militia. And when you get to militia, the same militia that Brad Holder belongs to, the same Sons of Odin group he belongs to, Gabe does too. Cal Stacy, the one that gave the hot shot. Gabe called for a hot shot to make sure Karena was dead after that firefighter killed her, before they dismembered her remains. And her mom toured the crime scene, even seeing a hole caused by her head in the wall covered by a mirror with blood and hair in it. And she asked, "Whose is that?" It's Karena's. Her mom picked up her cell phone. Her mom was contacted to come do such and come up, pick up her glasses, among a couple other things. Her mom was touring the crime scene shortly after it happened. Let that side of the family know, down to Paige Daly. Sierra Daly, the underage girlfriend, Karena's cousin, that was the underage girlfriend of Gabe's at the time. She's not underage now. She's actually got a kid, supposedly, right after she got pregnant, or was already pregnant, who knows, possibly with Gabe's kid. She's now dating his son. Has a kid with his son, supposedly. I got a feeling it might be Gabe's. Time frames, when she gave birth and everything, it fits. Makes you wonder if she got with the son, knowing the DNA would actually hit. And I'm going to go into a lot of this, but I have so far some major issues when it comes to the computer. I'm going to do a longer live tomorrow, and I'm going to try to tonight see if I can't get the screenshots to start showing about the 200 plus names of that Kokomo crew, what cases they go back to, who's involved. And by all means, if anybody's willing to donate to help, I've spent the $2,500 out of my own pocket that I've saved up to retain this attorney. Any other issues, I'm going to need extra when it comes to legal fees. But so far, the big brunt, I took care of myself. I didn't ask, well, I did ask certain few people for help. Said they want justice. I hold a very, very, very big key. The driver of both Karena and Delphi. The witness tampering, the one I had to get a protective order on, a drug felon, a suspect, somebody that was already involved with the first case and went on and drove and was involved with Delphi. And the reason I know Gabe was involved with Delphi, Paige Turley. Paige Turley actually told her boyfriend what her sister told her. Karena was dead within the first 48 to 72 hours of when, after the family said she was missing, she was already dead. That same family, the underage girlfriend of Gabe's family, was using Florida and other issues. Look here, look here. They knew she was dead. Paige Daly actually let her boyfriend know. Off of social media. Made sure it was off social media where it couldn't be tracked. Told him she died already. They knew it. And what's sick is they went on acting like she was still alive. She was just missing. She's down in Florida. Other issues. They knew she was dead, and they even let a boyfriend, of all places, know. And I've got this in writ. And that same sister, Paige Daly, she messed up big time. I ended up catching her up. She knew where her sister was. I called her out, and I've got this in writ. I am showing my attorney, and I'm taking this to court. They knew where Sierra was, or so they say. I asked his sister, was Paige Daly the underage girlfriend with Gabe when he committed Delphi? Straight up admits he had involvement, but at the same time she tried covering her sister's tracks. I don't think she was there. already admits that yes, Gabe was one of the individuals there. He was involved. And the second part is, I don't think my sister was there. But yeah, I'm gonna try getting this 200 plus names, Kokomo ring, Kokomo crew out. Let you guys see it. See where these names go back to. Dustin Crater, Tyler Joe French, he's friends with. You've got Anna and Derek actually, and the Patties, longtime family friends with Ashley Garth. Toby Garth actually was longtime manager, still is, of the co-op where not only Derek got the ammonia, but you got Gabe that did the manufacturing of meth right there on 100 South and Friends Swinging Road. Look how close that is up to the bridge. You'll be surprised. And you're asking, does Gabe know the area of Delphi? Is he familiar with it? He's got a felony manufacturing a meth charge right there at Prince William Road and 100 South. The same area Derek parked to go 50 feet to get that ammonia. Did Toby Garth help him? Show him how to do it the right way where he won't get hurt? Left gloves? Left it unlocked where he could get what he needed to do? Did he get paid off? Get a little kickback for letting this happen? Makes you wonder. Longtime family friends. There's 5 individuals. Same thing as Karena's brother. Dealing in meth. 2 on Abby's side. 3 on Libby's. And there's more. Instead of looking away from the drugs, you need to look towards the drugs. Instead of blaming a father, it was his debt and everything like that, I'm going to at least give him the benefit of the doubt. If he did rat on some people and they retaliated and killed his daughter and her friend, this is another reason why you're seeing the law there locally keep the FBI at bay. And then you got the same law for Indiana State Police. You got a detective there. 20 exploitation cases of minors sitting cold on his desk. And then you got 20 on KPD's desk. When you ask them, why aren't you asking for federal help? The ones that got the money and the resources and the manpower. Strict no. They're making jokes, laughing. It's sick. Carter needs to be brought aware of this, along with Tony Slocum. I got a feeling Tony Slocum, he should not be involved when some of his own friends are friends with individuals that are shown around the same Sons of Odin and the same militia groups that show themselves. He should not be a part of it. It's conflict of interest and a very serious one at that. FBI actually thought of these domestic terror suspects being friends with law enforcement. They actually said this is actually a threat and they knew about it. The one biggest thing I'm actually going to show with these lawsuits, me fighting, I'm going to get my federal witness rights and protections, my victim rights and protections, my informant rights and protections. It's one of the biggest things I'm going for. While doing that, I'm actually going to be asking as well for FBI, the same time frame. If you look the Jihad compound, New Mexico, if you look up both Florida shootings, the same time frame, Karena and Delphi, and even after, 3 different times, and there's more. FBI had to come out. We knew intel. We failed to act. We're sorry. It won't happen again. Happen again. Happen again. I get a feeling Delphi and Karena's already happened. They couldn't do much, but they could have went after the firefighter that's a rapist and murderer. And if either one of these were allowed to retire, they should not hold a pension. They should be in prison instead of getting a pension and retirement. You have rapists and murderers on Kokomo Fire Department running loose around women, being a threat to women. They could have picked their next victim, that next patient. they went to go see, oh, hey, she's a little weak. I think we can get by with this. We can make them the next victim. Easy as that. One thing that Robert Ives did say, I want you to keep this in mind. It may take another case, like the girls in the same county, to get justice, to get the girls justice. Look at Karena McClurkin, same group that did hers. The brutality with the knives. Look at Delphi. Even they're admitting that they were brought back to the area after the search party and staged. I guarantee if you look at both vehicles owned by Paige Turley, she parked and got rid of them, just like she did in Karena's. She did again in Delphi. Plus she was in that Jeep driving it. I got a feeling that was actually Gabe's Jeep, and it was actually false plates. Couldn't get a hold of her grandmother's Jimmy, the green Jimmy that she was driving around right after Karena's, after she parked the vehicle, after she had involvement with Karena's. I got a feeling she drove more than one individual, probably more than once, that had involvement with Delphi, and I guarantee you those two girls, if it was done elsewhere, it'd be the same apartment, same location they were seen leaving. Law, everybody's like, oh, why couldn't they catch them? They were looking towards Gas City. They just so happened to catch a glimpse of them when they came back in town. They could have been after Delphi, after they took the girls up, staged them up in Delphi that morning. They caught a glimpse of them, followed them back to the apartment, couldn't get a positive ID, so they had to wait till the next day when he came out for the cigarette break that morning. Less than 24 hours after he had involvement in Delphi, he was smoking a cigarette on the same location. I guarantee you, if you look, this DNA and forensics, both in both vehicles, both cases, Paige Daly, not Paige Daly, but Paige Turley. Both of her vehicles, if you pull up those, I guarantee if you look in them, there's going to be forensic evidence. Same thing at Gabe Ellis' daughter's apartment, 105 East Harrison. I asked the individual that actually owns that apartment. They did some renovations only on that apartment. I thought it was weird. But like they said, nothing in the basement was touched. The floorboards, if there's any evidence, that'd be where they need to look. Nothing floorboard-wise was ever picked up. None of the flooring, subflooring, plywood was never changed. There's DNA. It's going to be there. The piping, everything like that, there is going to be DNA there. They did the second case where they did the first, knowing they could get by. Nobody was going to pay attention, let alone call. Where they can park up next to that back door, just like Karena's. Nobody would see a thing. Sick. Look at Gabe Ellis, Tyler Joe French, that drug ring, the Kokomo crew. Look towards the drugs, the 5 individuals on both girls' family, and the one individual on Karena's. And it's not just one. Her mom and her sister, Liv Britton, have a long history. They're meth and hard drugs. It's the reason they don't want to speak up, let alone get justice. Marlena has actually been asking her dad to drop the case, to end it. Leave it alone. Leave it be. She's actually asking her dad to drop the case. Why? Because if there's justice, her and her daughter's drug addiction, they lose their drugs, lose their connections. They'd be high and dry, no drugs. That's another reason why actually the sexual exploitation, the charges on Gabe, were dropped. The reason the mother got a hold of the law, my girl is with Gabe, he shut her off of drugs. She got mad. When he gave her back the drugs, she was willing to get rid of the charges like nothing happened. Because she got her drugs back. Same reason why she got a hold of them, saying, hey, my underage daughter's with this guy, and this is what I know. what's going on. It's the only reason that she got a hold of the law in the first place, saying, hey, she's with so-and-so, and this is what I know. They bought her underwear, this, that, and the other. And then she went silent right after she started getting her drugs back. Started not pushing the case, trying to get them not to charge him. And that's why she got her drugs back. Look towards the drugs, not away. And I'm going to be showing a lot of names, the drug ties, the Kokomo crew, here in the next couple days. So I got a feeling I'm going to do it, record my screen, do it a whole lot faster and a whole lot easier. But then I'm going to do this big, longer video where I can actually take time, show you a lot more than what I'm going to show you in the faster version. But take time, get this out. If I can get up to 1K, I can get a whole lot easier. And right now I've been having issues with, Streamlabs. I'm working that out, try to get that on desktop or green screen lit up behind me. It's going to be working, so I'm actually going to have something behind me. But bear with me, and then get me as many subs as you can. The more I get, the more I'm going to start talking. But then I'm trying to debate if I want to privatize when I go real hard into the Kokomo Marine and the names and the individuals around. And the reason being, they're already stalking me. Keep an eye on everything I'm saying. Let's make them to start actually help funding their own downfall and actually have to subscribe, do this, that, and the other, become a member, Patreon member. Let's let them help fund their own downfall. Instead of getting this information, give back to the crew, the drug ring, why allow that? Free of charge. Nothing against anybody else like that, but I have to privatize and selectively send that out. And the ones that, if you're willing to pay to see that, I might do it that way. I do have a Facebook group. I'm going to kind of do what Sonny did on the like 199. Make sure you're not just here to troll or be an issue, but I can throw the Facebook group and be about like how Sonny has, but just part of the Hunting Evil Army. We are Legion. We're not just one. Be afraid. We are watching. No peace till justice. This federal attorney, their office, a lot's gonna happen. Sparks are gonna fly, and I'm hoping before the 6-year mark, justice served on at least 3 cases. Some things are gonna come to light. One of the biggest parts is the FBI agent and the FBI over me. They allowed Delphi to happen. They knew intel. They failed to act. They used my intel on individuals like Brad Holder, Gabe, the Sons of Odin, on why these 2 agents were allowed to take part and become part of the investigation that they allowed to happen. It's one of the biggest things, and I got information I can prove that. I was actually supposed to be paid the 13th. They were up in Delphi. 14th, they were up in Delphi. 15th, the uppers forced him to pay me on his way back up to where? Delphi. 2 agents over me. Their lies, disregard, and negligence, and the FBI allowing this. They knew intel. They failed to act. Delphi, mark my words, and I will be showing you with this federal legal counsel behind me. We're taking them to the federal Supreme Court, and I'm not afraid. I've got enough behind me where I'm going to start showing, and it's going to come out. FBI knew intel. They failed to act on the first victim's case. Carroll County even admits this with the open investigation. That's another one that's going to come. They're not going to like it. The corrupt individuals allowed Delphi and Karena to go almost now 6 years. A lot of them with that new Police Accountability Act. They're going to lose their law license for the rest of their lives. These corrupt individuals, they're going to be gone. It needs to happen. This needs to stop. how many kids' lives are going to be taken from this drug ring and this issue. And this be a lot, and they're not going to do anything for years and years. One victim's too many. One kid is too many. Like I said, if you can and you're willing to donate, I'm not asking for money. If anything helps, because right now the other thing I'm trying to come up with is to actually fund and actually go up, and if need be, look myself and anybody that's willing to help. Vandalia Bridge, right there, northeast of Cutler, is what I'm hearing. That train bridge is where Karina's remains are. It takes sifting some dirt to find burned, dismembered remains. I don't care how long it would take me. I gave that girl my word. I will see to it you make it home. It may not be the way I want her to go home, but I'll get out of that chair one way or another. I did ask her grandmother. I'll find her remains. The only thing I do ask, see to it she makes it home. It's going to hurt like hell getting out of that chair and use one of my forearm crutches and my braces. Grab that casket, take her to the grave, see to it she makes it home. I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to take whatever I have to, save whatever I have to. Cutler's out in the middle of nowhere. Nowhere to stay. Take a tent. Take self-sufficient, the food, anything I need, with me. And with going to federal court and everything, sorry, my hips are hurting, but you're going to start seeing this come off and me start cleaning up a whole lot more, because the media liaison that's working with this federal lawyer's office, the moment we get this paperwork ready, the moment we take the lawsuits, the issues to court, get my rights and protections put on, we're going to be asking for national and local media to start taking aware, and we're going to actually start showing where, like Carroll County, they know the third investigation that they're keeping silent on. It's an open investigation, the first, and become the third victim of Delphi. But hands down, one of the biggest things I can say, FBI allowed Delphi to happen. And I've got the proof, and now I've got the legal counsel to come out and force them to come out and say that. FBI knew intel, failed to act. Their lies, disregard, and negligence on the first victim's case allowed 2 little girls to be killed. That's sick. And it's not the first time they allowed kids to be killed. For a school shooting, multiple kids lost their lives. It's not the first and it's not the last time unless we, the people, stand up, use our voice, and make sure this does not happen again. I don't know what is their deal, what's going on in their heads, and why they're knowing this intel. This agent kept telling me for over a year, I'll come get you on the record. If they would have acted, did that, and charged, especially 90 years on 30 years per the tampering charges on the driver of Karina's case, they had to get a protective order on. They would have acted, Delphi was preventable. Mark my words. Get ready, because fireworks are about to fly, and I hope to God before the 6-year mark we see justice. No peace till justice.